Now this illustration deals with a service conductor with a higher voltage to ground. And for services, that's section NEC 230.56. But notice we really get the requirements to color code or identify the high leg in 110.15 of the NEC. We also get the requirement that if the grounded conductor is pulled with the ungrounded conductors, then 408.3E and F1 says that it has to be terminated as the center B phase or L2 phase. Now, notice in both panel boards, the grounded conductor is brought in. So phase B, center phase, is the termination of the high leg. And then notice if it's a panel board, as you see, the panel board has to be rated for that high leg. Now, there's many times we have electricians using a regular panel board and terminate the high leg. And the only way this is done is that the authority having jurisdiction shows grace and allows it to be done. And many times that's the case. But notice the high leg, as we saw in previous illustrations, the high leg is connected in such a manner that it goes routes through a 240 volt winding, through a 120 volt winding, and when both is added together and divided by 1.732, the square root of 3, if you've been reviewing this entire presentation, then we would come up with 208 volt to ground, and that high leg can be very dangerous if you should connect it to any equipment that happens to be 120 volt rated equipment. So in the illustration, it's showing you that the high leg is phase B. It's the center leg in a panel board or switch gear where the grounded conductor comes, or a disconnect switch, but it is to the right in the meter base, because meter bases are designed that they meter with a high leg to the right. So we always keep it to the right in the service equipment without otherwise instructed, but in service equipment with a disconnect switch, a panel board, or switch gear, or whatever, where the grounded conductor is present, then it would always be B phase or L2 phase, and it would be identified orange in color, or it would be identified as the authority having jurisdiction wanted us to identify it. So that's exactly what this figure 6-33 is illustrating. And notice that utility transformer, it's either connected, the windings in it is either connected open or closed delta, and we're just showing one transformer for simplicity. But notice single phase 120 volts is obtained, single phase 240 volt can be obtained, and three phase 240 volt can be obtained, but the high leg is going to have 208 volt, and we must be very careful. For many years, cities, counties, and states would require an auxiliary gutter mounted, and we would have a single phase panel and then a three phase panel, and this kept everybody straight so that they did not get on that high leg accidentally. So this is what this figure 6-33 is illustrating, is the connection of the high leg to phase B or L2 in the service rated type equipment in accordance with NEC 230.56.